Covering the inside, Mayer does not want to give him the space. He's going to force him the long way around, and he's going to take it, but he's going to go way wide. Is he going to hold the speed up? He's in the grass trying to hold on. Simon Mayer has got the speed, and he is going to take that lead back just as they cross for the win. Is this enough to try and finally get this done into the Descida del Lago? He outbreaks him. He has the inside, but he can't feed it out because there's a car there, and Costa does it again, denying him, but fighting back. Here comes Tolinen, going to be on the outside, coming into the horseshoe. It's hard to try and make it stick the long way around to this one, but he's going to do it anyways. Another right-hander leading into this one. It's just the never-ending side-by-side battle, but he gets a shove from behind. Showed and Holly are now vying for the lead down the backstretch. Look at him all the way to the yellow line. Michaud covering him off. Holly backs it up. He is setting him up. Absolutely. I guarantee you right here. And look at how calm he is. Oh, no.
That's a slowdown.
It certainly is. And off to the bottom of the track. He doesn't have to play any games. Michaud is done for. And he looks in the mirror, almost unbelieving of his luck. Here comes Beaufil. Beaufil going to look to the inside, coming into Brundle. Are we going to go 3 wide potentially? Is Ziti going to try and lift? He is, and they go 3 wide into the corner. But Luke comes out in front, and a little bit of acceleration at the wrong time for Beaufil. Puts him under threat. Down the inside goes Stetzel, through the bomb hole, and out the other side. Stetzel carries the momentum. Another right-hander now into Corum, and he's back through.
Right on board here with James Holland in that Ninja Trader eSports AM machine. He may have a 2-for-1 going 3 wide down Kemmel.
How about going to the grass to make it 3 wide, in fact? No one's backing off yet. Dwight Combe on lap 3. No one's backing off. Horvath now backs it off. Luna nearly squeezes Holland off the track.
Just going to stay together as we get to move to the inside. Levesque trying to defend on Ferguson, and Ferguson fights back out of the corner, almost banging doors as they come around the last turn. Here comes Mies as well, trying to take back some of the positions that he lost as they stay tight to the inside. Overall, the dirt and dust on the track and down into the first corner. We're going to be wheel to wheel, yet still Levesque around the outside. Ferguson, can he get the job done? Yet now he has.
And it's not over yet for the battle for 7th. Harper holding on to the bottom. Sorenzo trying to jump past Walker. They crash coming into the final corner. Sorenzo and Walker crash down the front stretch. The last cars on the lead lap trying back up down the straightaway. Walker will finish in 8th backwards to close the year.
While the GT2 championship has been wrapped up, the GT1 fight still offers a glimmer of hope to Latvala. For now, Brown has his fate in his own hands with the ability to points race until the season's end. Will he choose to do so, especially at a difficult track such as Summit Point? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 22 of the Porsche Owners Club Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Summit Point's club racing nature will fit well with the GT2 cars, but maybe not the GT1s. Let's head to our track guide to find out more. Welcome to Summit Point Raceway. Once the stomping grounds of IMSA and Trans Am vehicles thundering through the West Virginia mountains, this circuit is now mainly used for club racing and performance driver training. Situationed a couple hours west of Washington, D.C., there are actually two entirely separate circuits that can be tackled here on the iRacing service. The main circuit is just shy of 2 miles in length, including 10 turns, and can be chopped off into the short version, which has 9 turns and only 1.5 miles for a lap. The Jefferson Circuit is its own 1.1 mile piece of pavement with a mere 7 turns and uniquely can be run in reverse. Both tracks are astonishingly narrow and provide quite a technical challenge. On the main course, the most popular place to pass is down into the first corner hairpin. While some drivers may try a brave dive into turn 5, the frighteningly fast-kinked entry makes it prone to things going wrong quickly. Between there and turn 9, it's essentially a single-file affair with nothing but tight and twisty bends snaking their way around. The Jefferson Circuit isn't used as often, and because there are a few straights long enough to get a run on someone, most drivers are forced to wait for a mistake to pounce on. Otherwise, qualifying will be key. Believe it or not, IMSA's GT class raced here in the late 80s, and even Can-Am stopped in back in 86. While it probably sees much more competition here in the virtual world, it's easy to see why plenty of real drivers love to take their vehicles out to try and tackle this historic Appalachian venue. Well, DJ, this is going to be pretty tight confines here at this track. So what can we expect with these two classes?
Well, Joe, you hit the nail on the head. For the GT2 class, it's going to be relatively straightforward around here, but for the GT1s, they're going to be carrying a lot of overspeed through these corners. Look for the best place to overtake is really be going down into that first corner, the long right-handed hairpin. And from there on out, it's going to be a lot of very close follow the leader with maybe an approach or two coming out of the chute and down into that left-hander. The carousel, the S's, that's all going to be about setting yourself up. You want to keep nice and close behind to be able to get a good run through paddock bend and then make the blast down the front straightaway. Wagon bend, though, is a corner that can really catch out drivers, and especially in these GT1s, with as bumpy as this track can be, they've got to be very careful not to lose control of the car and find themselves in the outside gravel trap.
Yeah, it certainly has caused issues when we've seen racing here in the past. But before we get to that racing, we want to remind you that this series is brought to you by Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. As well as Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. As well as Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretire.com. As we mentioned in the preview, the GT1 Championship still up for grabs, but we have not seen Latvala show up yet today. And that is bad news for him, as that will have to be another drop week counted. He still has to try and show up for, I believe, at least one more race to try. No, excuse me, Corey is out here today. Pardon me. So Corey is out here to try and compete. There's a couple other drivers that need to show up. Salehi and Newton were the ones I was thinking of. Salehi down there in the 3rd position, trying to play catch up, is about 61 points behind with Michael Johnson down in 4th, and then BJ Fulton in your 5th place. However, as we mentioned in the GT2s, DJ, it is done and dusted for the top spot. Now it's all trying to fight for the scraps.
Indeed it is. Jerry Freckleton able to lock down that GT2 championship after just keeping a run of consistent performances over the course of the season. John Momeyer finding himself under threat from Mark Rondeau, who's had a good run here recently. And Aaron Edwards off into a little bit of an island unto himself, about 30 or so points ahead of Adam Fulton. But the real battle to watch here, that is going to be Momeyer and Rondeau. I think those are the two that we've got to keep an eye on, Joe.
As for today's race, it is the same format as we've seen before. It's a sprint round with 30 minutes, and there's the two different classes. The Cayman is the GT2, and the 911 RSR is your GT1s. It is an open setup series, but I have a feeling with such a short track, it's going to be more down to the driver here today, managing traffic and keeping it pointed forward and avoiding mistakes on the circuit. They're in the dying stages of qualifying with about 7.5 minutes left to go. Travis Brown has the pole position, but not by a lot. It's about 1/10 of a second back to Michael Ost. We'll see if he can find that time around this short lap, just over a minute to try and circulate. And then Freckleton continues to show just how good he is as he's on the pole down to the GT2s as well.
He is indeed, and denying Jad Duncan, who I believe has had a run of 4 or 5 consecutive pole positions in that GT2 category. And interesting to see there of Freckleton taking that final corner out of Paddock Bend a little bit wide. That's something these drivers are going to have to watch out for, especially in qualifying. Very, very easy to take it a little bit too wide and exceed track limits there. So they're going to have to be careful, make sure they don't get it. And now we get a great view on your screen of just one of the other things we've got to watch out for, and that is traffic. After about, I anticipate, probably 7 or 8 laps of running on track, we are going to have a whole world of kerfluffles when these GT1 machines catch up to the GT2s.
Yeah, and what interests me as well is the fact that I don't think Freckleton has beat Duncan on qualifying pace for some time. So we've seen Jerry kind of lacking pace in qualifying in recent rounds. So glad to see the 57 is really on it today. Must have been putting that practice in. And he's coming through the S's currently just ahead of Mark Rondeau. Rondeau is the one that is trying to be chasing there back in the GT2s. He is looking to catch up to Momeyer, who is here today. So Rondeau putting himself into 4th currently with his most recent lap is good, since Momeyer is down in 6th. Good for Mark, at least, not for Momeyer, who seems to be struggling here in West Virginia.
Yeah, and John's had a little bit of a run of bad luck recently. Just hasn't seemed like he's had that red Porsche underneath him as much as he would like to. But you never know. This is a little bit of a crazy track. A little bit off the apex there going into the first part of that corner. You can take a multitude of lines there through the first turn, diving a little bit in, letting it carry out as it does open up on exit. But yeah, John just not exactly looking like he was in the form he was earlier in the season, and running a little bit wide there through Wagon Bend.
I'm curious to see what Lotfula will be able to do as we ride on board with Momeyer down into the technical back half of the course. I just saw Lotfula cross. Oh, he actually improved to a 104.3 that time, but he unfortunately was not able to go ahead of Fulton or catch Brown for that matter, as Momeyer comes out of the S's now and up to Paddock Bend. Last final corner. It's a very swift right-hander. And it's got a little bit of a kink in the braking zone right here. Let's see how well he can take it down to the apex, just slightly off of it, and all the way out to the outside. He is allowed to take that little portion past the curb and over the line. Unfortunately, that lap got deleted, so he must have had an off track somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was that little bobble we saw him have coming. Oh, as he gets into the back there of Michael W. Johnson. It looks like both of them just misjudging their braking a little bit. No real damage to Momeyer. I think he's going to continue going around here just to keep it going. There you see Jad Duncan. That's another thing that you saw that car bounce right in the middle of that turn 1. That's something you've got to watch out for. This is not a perfect baby bottom smooth race course like you'd expect at, say, Indianapolis or something like that. There is a big kaboom in the middle inside line there of that corner. So drivers are going to have to watch out for that, as it can really unsettle the car.
The last 4 rounds have been quite a back and forth for our leaders in the GT1s as we watch Jad Duncan continue to try and steal that pole away from his rival. The reason I mentioned the last 4 rounds is because it's switched back and forth as to who has been gaining points on the other. Brown beating Lotvilla, Lotvilla beating Brown some of the times, but overall Travis Brown has really put himself pretty far out of reach. Again, not impossible, but Lotvilla really needs today to start his charge as Duncan crosses the line. Looks like he's not going to be able to go any quicker that time in the yellow machine, as maybe about 2 or 3 more laps before he is done today. Freckleton actually just with him there, following in his slipstream, which is not good news for Duncan if he could pull a nice little toe there. Corey Lotvilla down and across that time by a 1:11.6 as he had to restart and get back out there.
Yes, indeed. So he's going to try to get something wound up here. Currently sat back down the field. Obviously not a huge field out here today, but still you do not want to be down in the order here, Joe, is because this is such a narrow track. If somebody goes off in front of you, it can really ruin your day as there's not a whole lot of area to avoid.
Certainly not, at least if you try and stay on track, that is. You could go off into the runoff. You see there is quite a bit of grass and there's a few gravel traps out around the circuit that you can try and run to if you find the track blocked up in front of you. But unfortunately, one of the strange things about this track is that it doesn't have much in the way of actual Armco barriers or tire barriers to keep you from sliding off into the woods that you see out there. And well, iRacing only models it so far. You can actually fall off the world in a way, if you will.
Yeah, you can indeed head off into the woods singing Sondheim as you go. We've seen drivers do that several times. You just lose control of it, pop up over that berm, and keep going.
Ooh, Ost went quicker, but he is still half a tenth behind Travis Brown. He gets 1 last try. No, actually 2 if he hustles back around, and he's got the tires underneath him as he's just started another lap. So Ost is on a tear, but he's got to make up the most minuscule of gaps to try and deny the 300, who is not out on track to try and take it back to him.
No, he's not. So Oz may want to try to go back out there, see what he can do. But the order here continuing to evolve. 45 seconds to go.
And I'm watching to see who else is coming to the line now. I see Mark Rondeau continuing on. It looks like Michael W. Johnson got back out there. He's not able to improve. Rondeau, similar story. BJ Fulton is the next one to cross the line. He doesn't find any speed. So as we watch Ost go around Robon on Paddock Bend, Ost, is he quicker this time through? No, a 1:07.1. That traffic really hurt him. Robon also not able to go faster. This is his last shot, and Shulam's going to be the first to take the checkered flag.
Indeed he is. So let's see what Shulam's got here. Checkered flag does indeed wave. Shulam down in 7th right now. Needs to beat a 1:14 to be able to move himself forward. Is he going to be able to? No, he's not.
Lotvilla up next. Meyer down in 4th, way back from Travis Brown in terms of this lap, 0.3 of a second, and he is way off the pace here, so that is not going to do it. Michael W. Johnson the next through. Can he get above 5th place? Can he make life worse for Corey Lotvilla? No, his lap is deleted.
Seeing a lot of deleted laps here, Joe. That seems to be a bit of a theme. And I think we're going to have to watch out for that in the race as well, as it is very easy to get off track here, as I've mentioned.
I think the only one able to set a lap from here is going to be Jerry Freckleton. You see Lotvilla out there. He is done for the day. And Freckleton's just coming into the S's now, out of the carousel. He's already got the pole, so at this point, all it's going to do is be a bit of a mental blow to all of his competitors if he extends that gap even farther. Let's see if he actually tries to complete it. Nope, he's going to come into pit lane. His day is done for qualifying, which means it's time to go through our starting grid here today. Travis Brown is on the pole for this one. It'll be Michael Ost, who is just behind him. Well, beside him, really, once they get going. And it's not much of a margin between them. BJ Fulton will start from third with Corey Latvala starting in P4. It is Michael Johnson in fifth today, followed by Jim Slavic in the sixth position, last on his class.
Starting off in pole for those GT2s, it's going to be Jerry Freckleton, followed by the remarkable pole sitter of the last couple of races, Chad Duncan. Michael Robon will line up in third with Mark Rondeau to his outside. Aaron Edwards will line up P5, followed by John Momeyer, with Jeffrey Schulem and Larry Haas making up the rest of the field.
Indeed, and so they are, well, are they getting, I think they're getting a standing start here. So this is going to be interesting instead of a rolling start for our drivers. Let's see how they fare on this one. Waiting for just a few of them to finish gridding up. I mentioned earlier about Rondeau needing to have some good results here. He also needs to try and avoid having any sort of DNF. He's got no pocket points waiting for him. So drop weeks have all been sucked up by lack of attendance for Rondeau. Just waiting for Ost, Freckleton, and Momeyer now. And then we will get rolling for 30 minutes of racing here in West Virginia. And popping himself on the grid. Looks like Ost is out there. Freckleton is out there. And Momeyer's out there. So the lights come up as the engines start to rev. And the green flag is out. Oh, it's a horrible start for fourth. That was BJ Fulton, and that causes a big wreck behind them. Chad Duncan involved. He's going to unfortunately make contact with multiple cars.
Oh my goodness gracious, a big kerfluffle there for those GT2s. That's a car coming out of the woods there. Lucky he didn't fall off the edge of the world. I believe that's Larry Haas. Everybody trying to sort themselves out here.
Well, Travis Brown and Michael Ost are way ahead, but Ost is now in the lead. He managed to take the top spot away into the first corner with a better start off the line. He's got a huge gap down to Latvala by about 1.3 seconds. Latvala, though, sees his championship rival just in front. Can he get that farther down? Well, he's actually having to play defense because Michael Johnson is coming up beside him, and they're going to go wheel to wheel a little bit into the grass trying to catch it. Latvala spins.
Oh, that was Michael W. Johnson just forcing the issue there and forcing Corey Latvala to take avoiding maneuvers. He's now got to wait for the entire GT2 field to come through before he can rejoin safely.
Oh no, he's able to get it turned back around, but he is way behind. This is looking a little bit reminiscent of what we saw back at Phillip Island with drivers having problems early and going off through turn one. Travis Brown is not immune to mistakes himself. He's going to get back out on track just as Johnson streams by.
Indeed. So Michael W. Johnson doing a good job here of picking up the pieces. He's run through here. Remember, Joe, Michael has taught here as a circuit instructor, so he knows this course quite well, but he has got to make up about 3.5 seconds on the leader of Ost here if he wants to stand on that top step of the podium.
Wow, what a development here at the beginning of this race. It looks like some of the drivers have spread out. I think we've got an opportunity to look at that start. It was BJ Fulton who couldn't get it into gear for some reason, and everybody behind had to try and scatter, but not everyone was able to do so. Fulton in the 277. There you see him now finally rolling, and I don't think BJ even experienced much of the problems that this caused. Yeah, he gets it going. It's everybody behind. Oh, no. Was that Freckleton, actually? Yeah,
that was Freckleton and Duncan that came into each other. Joe, I think he may have accidentally had it in reverse. If you see when that car starts off the line, it moves backwards ever so slightly, and I think he realized what happened. Yeah, you see it right there. He had it in reverse, got a late start, pulled back, realized what it was, and had to flick it back into neutral and then first gear.
Oh, boy. And it's an embarrassing mistake, and I know we giggle, but to be fair, it can happen because I imagine he's probably got paddle shifters on the car. If he had the steering wheel turned and didn't realize it when he was on the grid, he may have had it reversed. or upside down essentially, and that's why he could have put it into reverse in that former fashion. That'll be a lesson I'm sure that he will remember. But we need to head to the lead of our GT2s because Aaron Edwards is being threatened by Freckleton for that spot as we got a car off in front of them. Who is that? That is Larry Haas. I think he's a lap down, so he is not losing positions and thankfully was out of the way.
Well, now Larry Haas is a lap down, as is this yellow machine that you see in front there, Jad Duncan. Jad is also fighting to stay on the lead lap here as Freckleton takes a very aggressive look going down into Paddock Bend. That's not going to work out for him, but that's Mark Rondeau in that purple Porsche behind him. He's now going to have a little bit of a move. Freckleton forces him onto the grass.
Oh my goodness, this could end poorly. He's not giving him space, and of course, he's gonna wind up getting into the side of him. Both of them go tumbling and actually hits Edwards. I think Edwards may have gotten away with it, but he's now gonna have a huge gap to everybody behind. And the best result I think we've seen is a couple of third places from Aaron Edwards. If he could get this win, this will be his first of the season.
Could indeed, and he's just got to focus here on keeping that car on track. Let's go ahead and check out the replay here. I've got to say, Jerry just forced his way over a little bit, tried to pinch Robon a little bit too much there, and sent both of those cars off into the kitty litter, and Freckleton very clearly taking the worst thwack there.
Thankfully, they do have spare cars to try and take some repairs, but he's going to have to drive it back in. Here is from Edwards' perspective. Gets missed by one, barely clipped by the other, but he's still rolling. Yeah, unfortunately, I fear that may be one of the results of being used to the spatial awareness that comes with real-world racing that sim racing doesn't necessarily have when you pinch a driver.
Yeah, exactly. And looks like Mark Rondeau has come down pit lane to take that spare car here. Excuse me, I said that was Robon. It was Rondeau that was involved in that accident. There's the little pop of the spare car being taken. He's going to be back on and on his way.
Well, again, this doesn't affect Freckleton too badly because he's already clinched the championship. But Rondeau, he is trying to chase down Momeyer, and Momeyer is now up in second place. So Mark has put himself behind the 8-ball with that move, as I think that was Haas once again off the track there for a brief moment.
I think it was too. Larry not having the best day, already 3 laps down as of right now. But here we check in on that battle. Travis Brown, remember, trying to claw his way back up to the pole position that he started the race in, trying to get a move here on Michael W. Johnson.
Johnson, you mentioned he knows this place well. So I have to imagine he'll know how to defend on such a tight track where passing is difficult. He's going to make life painful for the 300 if he can keep him behind. But Michael Ost is about 5.5 seconds up the road. Travis Brown would love to try and get back up there and take another victory to get max points and make this championship more of a sure thing. Not the greatest of exits out of Paddock Bend, but he's still got the slipstream.
He still does indeed. He starts to drift his way to the inside a little bit here, seeing if he can make that work later on the brakes, trying to go for a crossover. Michael W. Johnson wise to it, though, and takes a little bit of a later apex to shut off any attack from Travis Brown. They're now coming on the wounded Jerry Freckleton. Is this going to slow either of them down?
Causes a bit more of a problem for Travis Brown than it does for Michael Johnson. Gives him some breathing space. And don't look now. BJ Fulton is quickly approaching as Freckleton has a big wreck behind them. He got put off by Fulton, go around the outside of the chute.
Yeah, he did. Just got offline and lost it there of his own volition. Some more lap traffic here for Michael W. Johnson. That's Jeffrey Shulam. He's able to dive to the inside there as they come down this long straightaway, getting into the long go here. Ooh, Travis looking like he's got a good run now.
Could this finally be it for Travis Brown to get back into second place? He's got to try and get away from BJ Fulton here. A little bit of a defensive move from Johnson. And whoa, late move and a mistake into the tire barrier. And Fulton has to go the long way around to stay away from him. Travis Brown somehow able to get the car rolling once again. That'll put some damage on the right front of the car with that little brush into the barrier.
Joe, I'm not sure entirely what happened to Travis Brown there. The only thing I can sort of think of is that he may have tried to make a little bit too aggressive of a maneuver, jerking to the right of the road, and the car's just set up for speed and didn't have the grip to really make that work, and the rear broke away. But that was a very bizarre incident for the 300.
I went back and looked myself, and it seemed to me like he braked just a little bit too late, and he had to take avoiding action. So he chose the inside, and unfortunately there was that barrier there, so he wound up making contact. He does not go in. He seems to think it's driving okay enough, but now he's fallen about a second and a half behind BJ Fulton, who is trying to make up the time he lost to Michael Johnson, having to slow up so that he didn't hit Brown.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to separate out the field here a little bit, as is the traffic that they are all encountering right now. That is in between them. That's Aaron Edwards. That's your GT2 class leader that BJ is able to get by, and now he sets his sights ahead of him to Michael W. Johnson.
I just checked my stats. We might be on our way to have two brand new winners this season. Ost has not won yet, and Edwards has not won yet. So let's see if they can hold it out to the finish. So far, I have to say, Michael Ost has been doing a good job keeping pace over Michael Johnson. There you see the 73 on your screen right now. However, Aaron Edwards seems to lack pace compared to a lot of his rivals because Momeyer's already caught up to the back of him.
Yeah, indeed he has. John just able to avoid a lot of early incidents here and get his way forward. So Momeyer already cut that gap down by about 0.3 of a second from when I last looked at the timing screens, Joe. Aaron just trying to hold on to this the best that he can, but I've got to say that number 6 looks like he's got a lot more speed.
Yeah, Momeyer having qualified in 4th place in his class, as opposed to Edwards, who is just one behind him. So he should at least have mildly better pace than that blue and white machine. So we'll watch and keep an eye on this to see if he can run him down. I can tell you that BJ Fulton seems to have started to run down Michael Johnson. He's got it down to 0.8 of a second.
Yeah, he has indeed. So clearly not a lot of damage to that car that we may have suspected. Remember, he had to go around the spinning Travis Brown there. We weren't sure if he picked up a little bit of damage, but he is certainly closing in on Michael W. Johnson. We'll have to see if Michael has any tricks that he can pull out to try to keep that number 277 at bay.
He's got it down to 0.7 of a second, another 10th knocked off by the 277 car, flashing his lights. Michael W. Johnson wants Michael Robin to know he's coming through. Nicely done by the 929 to leave space for both of them. But it looks like Fulton still gained quite a bit. It's down to 0.5 of a second just in that one corner.
Yes, it is. He is coming on with a full head of steam. Here is BJ Fulton. Michael W. Johnson has got to know that. Now, they've got a pretty good gap up ahead of them. Larry Haas, about 6 seconds up the road or so. I think, although it almost looks like Larry's had an off somewhere. Yes, indeed, there he is. I was wondering why that gap was coming down so quickly. So Larry had a little bit of an off there. Now they've got a pretty big gap ahead of them, about 24 seconds up the road to Mark Rondeau.
Yeah, in fact, Michael Ost hasn't even caught Mark Rondeau yet. So there's a ways before they start to lap the next of our GT2s off the final turn. Johnson looking quite strong. He gets it back up to 0.7 of a second in the latter half of that lap. So I think they wound up, yeah, just about the same lap times. Fulton less than 1/10 quicker than him. Down into the braking of 1, though. He seems consistently much better as he gains another 1/10 into there.
Yeah, he really does. And Michael just looking like he's trying to be a little bit more conservative here rather than drive aggressive. And that's a lot of what we've seen out of Michael W. Johnson over the course of this season. He has very, very rarely made a mistake. The only one that I can really think of is he had a little bit of a slip up at Road America, but that's about it. For the most part, Michael W. Johnson is the exact epitome of consistency here. Not trying to overdrive the car, just keep it within its limits. BJ trying to put some pressure on him, though, here.
Sadly, he did have a DNF Michael did at Phillip Island. Or excuse me, not at Phillip Island, at round 20 at Mount Panorama Circuit, but you can be forgiven for making a mistake there and having your race prematurely ended. He actually had a second place at Phillip Island, so he bounced back in a big way, which certainly rejuvenated some of his championship hopes, but he came into this round needing to not lose a single point, literally, to our points leader. So Travis Brown currently behind him, which is good news there, but he'll have to continue that if he does manage to finish in second place ahead of him.
Yes, he will. And Travis is a pretty sizable ways back there. He's about 6.5 or so seconds back from this battle. There's Travis on your screen. So he's got some work to do here as we're about to get ready to cross the halfway point here. So not saying that Travis can't do this, but he's got to really, really hustle it here if he wants to be able to catch back up.
Taking a look at his lap times, 105.9 last time. Compare that to Johnson. It is actually a 105.4 from Michael. Ooh, as we come back to our leaders in the GT2s, Momeyer has been wavering around a bit, but he's got it back down to 0.5 of a second. Has he got the car underneath him now?
Well, let's see. Indeed, that looked a little bit sketchy there from Aaron Edwards, bouncing a little bit. A blink in the back from John Momeyer. That car having some internet connectivity issues there as they work their way through the S's.
Not good news for the sixth, and that'll make battling with Edwards very difficult as well if they have a close fight. Coming under the bridge here and down to Paddock Bend. This is where Momeyer wants to really launch that six car off of the right-hander. It doesn't look particularly good, but at least holds with him. I'm kind of half watching this and half watching Michael Johnson because Fulton has caught back up to him as well. And yeah, way too far back into the first turn for John. Not going to have a chance at Edwards this time.
No, he's not going to have the dive at him yet, but I think if he just keeps up the pressure here, as we've said, we haven't really seen Aaron be out in the front of a race, so just keeping up that pressure, testing him like this, he hasn't been in that position. John doesn't know how he's going to respond.
Absolutely. And right now, he's getting closer coming through the chute. We can see passes here into turn 5 sometimes, but he takes it a little deep. So it's not going to be there. We've sometimes referred to that turn here on this channel as yard sale corner just because of how many cars wind up just kind of scattered off into the grass there outside the turn. It's not an official name, but we certainly enjoy it here. And as nobody has really been sent off that we've seen there yet. I'm curious to see if someone will finally make that happen, as Fulton's got a good opportunity. That's Schulem holding up Michael Johnson. Oh no, and he's going to get contacted. Schulem spins off and just catches the fence. Ahead of him, Fulton now has a great run, tries to get his nose in, and unfortunately puts the nose into the side of Johnson, both of them into the tires.
But I think Michael W. Johnson may have been able to escape that a little bit easier. He glanced off the tire barriers, and indeed, BJ Fulton there looking like he just took a tow.
Oh, goodness. That is two major players off the course. Travis Brown, well, he's up to second place because of that. He gets him with ease. Michael Johnson able to get back out on track in third place.
And back in that battle for GT2, John Momeyer had a little bit of an off there right around yard sale as he, I think, clipped into the back ever so slightly of Aaron Edwards. And did he have damage before? He has got a huge indentation on the front of that Porsche, does John Momeyer.
Let me go back and check. How in the world did he get this? Trying to find it. Maybe it was into turn 1 here because I'm not seeing it quite yet. He must have gotten it some time ago because at least I'm going back a full lap and I'm not seeing any contact to have caused it, unless this was something at the start of the race when we had that big checkup and we just somehow missed it.
Yeah, indeed, but it is as I said, a very large indentation on that car. So if he's been going on it for a little bit, he at least has an idea of how to handle it. As there you see Aaron Edwards running a little bit wide there, coming through Wagon Bend, just trying to keep that car together at this point and trying to fend off the pressure.
I can report that, yes, he did get it from the very first lap, but then it was made worse later on by another incident I haven't been able to find. Looks like a little bit of contact with a spinning car, maybe? That was very weird. There's a car that spun in front of him. That was, oh, it was Jerry Freckleton's incident. So strange ghost contact then is what caused the rest of it for John Momeyer. That is a new one for me. He was miles away from the other car. In the meantime, we're looking at Aaron Edwards in the 5, still about 2.2 seconds ahead of John. Just ahead of them, Larry Haas, a lapped car. Is he going to stay out of the way here through turn 1? No, he's going to stay on the racing line. He could pull off to the side, which he does, just out of that first corner, although that was a strange one through the grass there from Aaron.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an off line there, as it were, but he's able to keep it going and nice and straight here for the moment. So that's good for him. He is just going to want to try to avoid as much problems as he can. Larry Haas, ooh, this could get a little bit hairy. Travis Brown coming up behind John Momeyer. That could, okay, there Travis is able to get by nice and clean.
It's the first one, though. Now he's got to get 2 more. Larry Haas up in front of him. They're going to be faster through this S's section. He decides to play it patient. I think he knows he's got a second place easily in his grip. So he's going to wait for it. Yeah, there you see him now getting by Haas, and Edwards up next. Easy pass through the inside. And we had a spin from Johnson. We were just looking at him there for a moment. Where did this happen?
I'm not entirely sure, Joe, but Michael, you're losing a bunch of time.
It was yard sale. He outbraked himself, so not quite a spin, just kind of went deep and went off into the corner. Here it is now.
So there he is going in. Yeah, you can just see all 4 of those tires really locking up as he goes in through yard sale. Able to gather it up nicely underneath him. He's not going to lose as much time as he would on an outright spin, and I think he'll be able to avoid any major damage to the car at that point.
Just checking while we had a chance during that replay. Travis Brown's fastest lap is a 104.7. Last lap not going to be a representative because he got caught up by the traffic. Fastest lap for Ost is a 104.8. Only a 1/10 of a second difference between the pair of them tells me that this 15-second gap probably not going to be catchable by Travis Brown, as we're still watching Johnson there on our screen for a second. Here's the lap comparison. Brown just crossing the line. A 105.5, Ost with a 106.6. Well, that was lap traffic, though, I think, for the 73 that time by. So that may be what it comes down to, or a situation we just stepped away from Ost. He actually almost had a moment with Jeffrey Schulem trying to lap him, putting 2 wheels into the grass. The pace difference between these 2 classes has been a bit of a headache today.
Yeah, it really, really has, and it's bringing out all sorts of problems all over this track. We've seen multiple times drivers just kind of getting into little mini scuffles with each other. Just the nature of these corners bringing out those speed differentials and making it very difficult around here.
Well, and you talked about how narrow the track is. I'm sure that doesn't help either. So that time by, Ost going to lose yet more precious seconds. It'll be a 106.6. Actually, that about matches his previous lap. As we watch Aaron Edwards now, still leading Momeyer by about 0.6 of a second through the S's. I'm watching Brown as he crosses the line. Brown gets a 105.5 that time. So yeah, he is continuing to plug away to see if he can catch him, even if it is a distant hope. On to the front stretch now. Momeyer down within about 0.4 of a second. Edwards, does he defend? Because it looks like better speed is in favor of the 6 car. He's going to show his nose. Edwards does not cover him off, but he doesn't need to, as Momeyer cannot get the overlap.
Yeah, and in these GT4 cars, Joe, we've seen multiple times drafting not nearly as effective as you would think. And so I think here for John Mohmeyer, he has just really got to try to push his advantage the best he can.
I have to give credit to that 5 car because Aaron Edwards has been dealing with this admirably. For someone who hasn't won a race yet this season, he's been just soaking up the pressure every time Mohmeyer gets close.
Yeah, it really has. And we have talked about that this is the first time we've seen him out front. John Mohmeyer obviously is used to challenging for that title, getting his way up towards the front of the field the best he can. Right now, he's got Jim Slavic coming up the inside of him, and there goes Jim. Hopefully, he's not going to catch him where he wants Aaron Edwards to be caught. So that'll be a pretty quick and easy move there for Jim Slavic, and it's not going to be of any help to John Mohmeyer.
No help whatsoever. 1.2 seconds between them now. And now Aaron Edwards even gets a little bit of the slipstream as well to pull him farther away down the front stretch. 6 minutes left to go in this 30-minute sprint race. And while we saw the drivers back at Bathurst clearly have problems with attrition, that was a race of survival. Seems like this track is bringing just as much trouble trying to keep out of that T word.
Yeah, exactly. This is proven to be very tricky for drivers across the field there. Everybody having problems, including I just saw there, the BJ Fulton had himself a little bit of an off. It's all kind of precipitated by Aaron Edwards locked up going into yard sale. That in turn caused Mohmeyer to sort of check up, and BJ had to check up behind.
Just had a tiny off. He was able to get it back on, thankfully, after just kind of skidding into the dirt. Man, Mohmeyer's not giving up on this. He gets it back down to 0.6 of a second once again. The racing gods just don't seem willing to smile upon him today. They're going to get caught by Fulton once again. See if he can get by in a clean spot.
He's certainly going to try for it here. BJ Fulton now checking back up on them. But Aaron Edwards again able to get a good run away there from the corner. BJ now diving down to the inside of Mohmeyer as they work their way towards Wagon Bend.
Should be able to get by it. He does without hassling him at all, costing him any time. And there we go. That is much better for the pair of them. Neither really lost time at all.
Indeed, that gap holding at about a second as of right now.
Oh, and we just had contact between Shulam and Robon. They're able to get away with it. No, they're not. Robon looks a little damaged, and unfortunately, Shulam veers off course. Well, that was very strange.
Indeed it is. I'm not sure what happened to Shulam. What that is going to allow to have happen is Jad Duncan's able to move his way now up into P4. Shulam, that looks like some pretty hefty suspension damage to that car. It just does not want to drive straight. But there's the battle for the lead. This is a good run for Mohmeyer.
He's going to look to the inside. No defense from Edwards. Leaves the door open into the hairpin and goes a little too deep into the corner. Tries to cut back underneath him for the over-under. Doesn't get enough of a launch. Mohmeyer is now your new leader in the GT2s.
He is indeed, but let's see what Aaron Edwards can do on the attack here. Able to keep it nice and close behind Wagon Bend as they work their way up towards the chute. In these slower cars, you may be able to see a pass here into yard sale, but it looks like Aaron's a little far back to really go for anything right now. Works his way now, diving around here into the carousel. Keeping it close, keeping at least within touching distance, but Edwards starts to pull away a little bit.
A lot of curb on the inside there for Edwards, and I think that may have cost him a bit. And look behind, the Rainbow 73 is going to be lapping at least one. Can he get both, or is he going to hold up Mohmeyer? It's going to be tight, and he is going to play patient. Ost knows he's got a huge gap behind still. And this, I think, is 3 to go this time.
I believe you're right, Joe. That's what it seems like as Michael Ost crossing over the line with that 14-second advantage. And yes, we are getting relative confirmation that it is 3 to go.
This means 3 laps now for Edwards to try and retake on Momeyer. Oh, and some more blinking from the 6 car. When was the last time we had a win from Momeyer? I need to check my stats once again. Let's see where it is. Has he won one? He has. It was all the way in round 5. That would have been Imola.
So it has been a hot minute until John Momeyer has tasted that top step of the podium. Rest assured, he is going to be pushing hard for it here. He wants to take this win. He may be out of the championship race for GT2, but he still wants a win regardless.
Coming down the front stretch. Can Edwards deny him a return to the top step? He's got a great run. He's got the slipstream. Can he make the braking? He went a little bit hot last time he got overtaken into here. Coming back to the inside, he goes a little bit deep. He's having to give space, Momeyer does, and that is going to give the lead right back to the 5.
Yes, it is, but Momeyer's going to take a little bit of a look going down into Wagon Bend. He has to back out of it very early. That was a shallow line there for that number 6, as now they've got Travis Brown coming up behind them. This could throw a little bit of a wrench into the work.
That was a great move by Edwards there. Just a little hot end of the turn, but fair fights between them. Travis Brown now caught up in possibly the worst place that he could catch this pair. He'll get one through the carousel. That's Momeyer down. Now he's got to try and bide his time a little bit behind Edwards. Gets checked up a little bit, but he doesn't want to send another car off into the fence, so he waits.
Indeed, he's just going to try to play it a little bit cool here and wait this out as best as possible until he gets it. But there they go. They're going to cross over the line here to take 1 to go. John Momeyers knows it is now or never time.
He's going to want to hold on to the 2nd place in the championship, get himself some max points so that he isn't overtaken by Rondeau. Rondeau currently sitting in 3rd, so it'd be only a 3-point gap that Momeyer could get over Rondeau, as opposed to an 8-point gap if he could beat Edwards here today. Meanwhile, as I see my clock down to 0, it is officially the last lap. So Michael Ost comes around the last corner and takes a win here in the GT1 class for the Porsche Owners Club. And Edwards behind him is coming through the S's now. He's got a handy gap of about a second. Can he retain this for just one more corner?
Well, he's going to have to push it here. That's Michael W. Johnson coming up behind them in that purple Porsche. I don't think Michael's going to do any sort of crazy move here to try to get himself forward. Aaron Edwards takes it out of the last corner, and he is going to come to the line. Edwards wins in GT2.
2 first-time winners here in round 22 for the Porsche Owners Club. Fantastic stuff from both of them to get that to victory lane. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
What a topsy-turvy race it was here at Summit Point Raceway. The West Virginia track gave us a lot of action, but for Michael Ost, it gave him his first win of the season. He qualified on the front row, so the speed was definitely there, but he grabbed it once he saw others fall by the wayside. Travis Brown able to get back up to second. He made his own mistakes, but he also fell victim to issues as he tried to navigate around the tricky traffic here at this course. Michael W. Johnson only good enough for fifth in qualifying, but the instructor was able to get back onto the podium by the end of the event. Corey Latvala, oh boy, his hopes of trying to catch Brown have not been helped by today. He started fourth, he finished fourth, but he fell way back early on. Jim Slavic was the last one on the lead lap in fifth, and poor BJ Fulton reversed it on the line and had to finish in sixth place when it all was said and done in the GT1s.
In those GT2s, it was Aaron Edwards who was able to hold off John Momeyer to take the win here. Mark Rondeau finishing third on the day. Jad Duncan involved in that early incident came back to finish P4 with Michael Robin in fifth. Jerry Freckleton fell victim to an incident going down into turn one, was able to come home in sixth with Jeffrey Schulam in seventh and Larry Haas down in eighth.
That takes us to our winner for this round, Michael Ost, finally getting a victory this season in that number 73 machine. Michael, better late than never. It took until round 22, but you've finally gotten a win this season. How does it feel?
It feels good. I mean, it's always a blast racing with these guys. It was a big surprise because we had a standing start and everybody expected it to be the normal, fall behind the pace car. And so it really surprised everybody. Luckily for me, I got the jump on Travis on the green light and carried it into turn one. And, Travis and I were right on top of each other in qualifying. I mean, we were having a blast. And the truth is in practice, we were all running about the same lap times. So we knew it was going to be a really good race. And then once Travis missed, corner one on lap two, lap two, then I knew all I had to do was pace myself with the people behind me and just control the gap.
We've only had a handful of podiums before this on the season. What do you feel like made you so much stronger at this track?
Well, one thing is I turned off the relative time. I'm an autocrosser, so I normally just try to get absolutely everything out of the car, and I turned off the relative time, so I didn't know if I was actually faster or slower every lap, while you're driving the lap. And so I just turned it off, and I just started running just good solid laps, and then I just watched the gap behind me. And as long as I can control the gap, then I wasn't that worried.
Great stuff there, and finally netting that win. Is there anybody you'd like to thank that helped make this one possible? Yeah,
I'd like to thank the POC for putting on these events and all the practices we got to play with, and and all the guys that race with us. We all have a great time, and thank my family for watching and enjoying the show, and GSRC for putting on the show, because we appreciate you guys announcing it. And I can honestly tell you, when I send a YouTube video to one of my friends, they're like, "Wow, it looks like a real race," and are those real announcers? And I'm like, "Yes, they are, and they're really good at what they do."
Well, thank you very much. That was Michael Ost trying to earn brownie points here in his post-race interview.
It's all
Unfortunately taken out a little bit early, as we also have a first-time winner with Aaron Edwards, as the number 5 joins DJ here in the booth.
Aaron, welcome to the top step of the podium. You held off John Momeyer for lap upon lap. This has got to feel great, my friend. Aaron, can you hear me, buddy?
Well, it looks like we've got a bit of an issue here for Aaron, so we'll try and talk to him a little bit later. I believe we have Momeyer, so let's have DJ talk to our second place finisher who is chasing.
Indeed, John, a good run for you here. You were all over the back of Aaron Edwards for that pretty much would seem like the entire race, but still coming away with the second place here has got to feel pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what happened with the start. Both BJ and I checked the settings. We thought we had it all right, but then a standing start, and wow, the mayhem ensued immediately. Somebody didn't go up front. I don't really know what happened with that yet, but what a heck of a race.
A heck of a race indeed. And talk to me through a little bit of your mentality there when you were riding behind Aaron for most of that. Were you trying to push and put on the pressure, or were you just trying to run laps and seeing if Aaron would make a mistake?
Well, for a little while, I think it was Jerry and Mark that were up in front of me, and they went down into turn one and both commenced to rolling down the side of the straightaway when it turned into Aaron and I. And I just followed Aaron for a while. I got up really close to him once, and man, we got really squirrely when I tried to get next to him. We got separated a little bit with traffic, and I decided to just hold back a few laps, not think about it, and just go drive my line. I kept driving Aaron's line on a few turns, and I finally caught back up to him. Don't know what happened in that last couple laps where he was able to pass me back, but we were both having a little issue getting out on that front straightaway occasionally.
Oh, it certainly looked like a lot of fun for you out there. And do you like tracks like this? Do you like the more quote-unquote club tracks, or do you like a more of the Circuit of the Americas sort of Grand Prix type circuits?
This one brings us close to home. I mean, this feels like you're coming out of Willow on turn 9 to come out of this turn 10 and come to that straightaway. This feels like a lot of the tracks that we actually drive on. So felt really good to me. A lot of road for the road course it was, yeah.
Well, all right then, my friends. Anybody you'd like to thank for this second place here today?
Absolutely. Got to thank Precision Motion for taking care of the car when we're at the track, and my family. My wife's out there watching, I'm sure, and Granny and my parents. And GSRC, you guys do a great job commentating these for us, and all the volunteers at POC that make these things possible. Really appreciate it.
Well, I know we are more than happy to do it. Thank you so much. That was John Momeyer, your second place finisher here today. And now that we've confirmed we've got his audio working, Joe, you've caught up with Aaron Edwards.
Indeed. Aaron, welcome to the booth. You were able to make it past all the craziness there at the start. Once you found yourself up at the point, what was your mindset from there?
It was, hold on, man, fight him off. John Momeyer was hunting me down. It was so exciting to try and fight him off. And, I just have such a great time racing with these guys. They're all such good drivers. And so I know a lot of them are faster than me. But, hey, when opportunity knocks, man, open the door.
Absolutely. And give yourself some credit, because even if he chased you down, you fought back and had to re-overtake him a couple times there. Do you feel, is that a confidence boost that you feel like you can take moving forward for the final few rounds of the season?
Absolutely. It definitely boosts confidence. I did say to John afterwards, though, that one more lap and I would have been shaking in my boots again. So I was really happy the race ended when it did.
Well, in the end, it's a set time, and it is what it is, and you were the one that took home the victory. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to that helped make this win happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank the POC guys. They're just awesome, really patient. I'm one of the, I guess, newer drivers relative to others, and they've just been totally awesome. So thank you to them. And then you guys at GSRC, I just really enjoy watching it back, and you guys just do an amazing job. And then most importantly, I want to thank my beautiful wife and my two beautiful little daughters for letting me sneak away every so often and do this with you guys. And last but not least, my awesome sponsors, Trading Card Sale and Boat Value. Thank you, guys.
That was Aaron Edwards with his first win of the season here in 2021. Up next, Travis Brown, our points leader, getting back up to P2. DJ has caught up with him.
Yeah, Travis, a bit of a yo-yo race there for you, but coming home P2 on such a crazy race like this, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I was. I'll admit, I was a little flustered after the start. I was pretty irritated that it was a standing start and nobody knew that, and I lost my pole spot because it's super important on this track, right? And then I just it was mental game. I was too close to Michael, and the wing wash just got me going into the braking zone, and I made the error and fell back behind Johnson. So and then he and I were having a nice battle. I was catching up to him, but then I felt like he moved maybe under braking, or at least like at the last minute possible under braking. So I had to swerve to miss him and ended up hitting the wall. So yeah, then he and BJ got into it, which got me back to P2. So like you said, roller coaster. It was more of a trying to keep myself focused after just being a little disgruntled at the start.
Gotcha. Well, when you fall back and you are a little disgruntled, talk about your sort of mentality change. Does that change how you drive, how you fight, or are you just running business as usual?
You know, it's at the start after I lost it to Ost. I feel like I got it mentally together. I knew he and I had some fun practice races. I knew we were super even, so I was looking forward to that fight this race anyway. And so I was still good with just kind of picking a spot. I was going to try and keep pressure on him, but it was just I made a mistake under braking and went off. And so after that, then it was more the frustration with myself at putting in that spot. And then Johnson, I was still having a good battle, but you know, the moving under braking I thought was a little, you know, whether he did or not, or if it was me. And either way, I had to swerve. And then I was peeved that my car was damaged. So once it was damaged, I was just trying to bring it home.
Gotcha. Well, if my schedule is right here, we're heading to Mosport next, another sort of tight and twisty circuit. You think you could find some luck up there in Canada?
I hope so. I think it's going to be a lot like this one. Like you said, tight and twisty, and qualifying is going to be super important. So hopefully I can put it up on the front row and go from there.
Well, we'll be watching for sure. Travis, anybody you want to thank for this second place run here today?
You know, just the POC in general. Even though we're all just super competitive, that's the thing. And it's I love just getting to have the camaraderie with Ost and Johnson and Corey and BJ. We're all super tight with the pace, and that's what makes it fun. So it's always a bummer when something like that happens and then the field gets all spread out. But yeah, hopefully next time we'll actually get a good clean race with battles instead of shenanigans.
Well, we can always hope for a little less shenanigans, I guess. Travis, anybody you want to thank for the run here today?
I'll give the whole crew, give everyone a shout out. It was good GT4 traffic too. So POC Club, thank them all.
Rock and roll. That was Travis Brown, your second place finisher in GT1. And now, Joe Peak, you've caught up with our third place finisher, Michael W. Johnson.
Actually, we've got Mark Rondeau here in with us, third place in the GT2s. And Mark, you were involved in one of the bigger wrecks in this race. A little bit of a pinch down there. Have you had a chance to talk to, I think it was Freckleton that you were involved with there?
Yeah, he didn't realize how close I was and how little room I had. You know, it happens. I asked him, how far are you going to push me? And right about then is when we connected and went off. He said, about that far. So, you know, it happens. It was a bit of a cluster the whole race.
Well, I'm glad you two can have a sense of humor about it. After that, you still managed to bring it back home in third, knowing that you're trying to chase down John Momeyer. Is that a little bit frustrating since you've got a bit of a gap in points to try and get up to second?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. It's going to make it much more difficult. The next event's a double points event, and then you know, there's only 2 events left. But you know, we'll see how it plays out. You know, John's been doing well and hanging in there. He got a nice second place finish today, and so we'll see if I can catch him.
Well, we'll watch out for you, and best of luck up in Canada. Anybody you want to give a shout out to here for this third place?
POC, GSRC, and my family for allowing me to do this.
Great stuff there from Mark Rondeau. Now we do have Michael W. Johnson ready to talk to us. DJ is going to talk to the instructor about his experience here on the virtual track.
I am indeed. Michael, how did this one stack up compared to running around here in real life? I know you're pretty familiar with this one.
Well, get the limiter ready because I just want to scream. It was my race to lose. I was goofing around and even qualified on full fuel. I was like, oh, this will be fun. I'm going to go see what I can pull against these guys, and did a full fuel qualify and just played with it to see what I could do with it so I'd know where I'd be in the race. Yeah, I mean, the car felt great. I really worked hard on my my long run setup, or 30-minute setup, and did nothing for a qualifying setup. So I figured I'll just do that. And fortunately, I know a lot of tricks here. I know a lot of little places where you can make up time, where you can drop somebody out of a draft, all kinds of things to happen, because I've done probably in the neighborhood of 200,000 laps here. I mean, a lot. I've spent a lot of time here. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, then walking away with the third is a little disappointing for you. But, I mean, it did look like good fun out there. Everybody having some good battles. And I know you got to love kind of having to fight your way through it a little bit. You think you can carry that momentum into MoSport?
I'm hoping so. MoSport on iRacing has been a thorn in my side. I love MoSport in real life. It is incredibly similar to this track. Similar width, similar run out of the turn 5 up the hill, where it's like turn 10 up the hill here. Beautiful sweeper. I love MoSport. It's so much fun. But every time I go there, I get punted over the wall or something terrible happens. I'm just hoping for better luck this time.
Well, fingers crossed for you, Michael. Anybody you want to thank for this third place run here today?
Oh, tons of people. I'd like to thank, of course, Jerry and Roban. I've spent more time in the GT4 working with those two guys this week than I did in my own car. And they did a brilliant job in qualifying. They looked fantastic. And had the start gone differently, I think they could have come away first and second on the podium. Also, I have a brand new client that I'm going to be working with, John Robinson and his son, Will. I'm going to have them out at COTA in a couple of weeks, trying to get Will's career off the ground. He really, really, really wants to be a pro driver. And I've talked to a few people who've worked with him at various race schools and talked with his dad a lot. And I had a nice long conversation with him today. And hopefully he's watching this. I told him we were on. So thanks, Will. Thanks for being there. Hopefully we get you in on some of these races online just as well.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, and congratulations on this third place run here today. That was Michael W. Johnson. Joe?
Which will wrap up our interviews. So we want to give a big thank you to the community for bringing us back for another season of coverage, but a bigger thank you even to our sponsors, which includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank. Be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. As well as Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at centuryretired.com. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, check out our merchandise store, simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As was mentioned, next time out, it's going to be at MoSport. That'll be Monday, November 29th at 11 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully everybody's not too tired from all the turkey after that. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.